Welcome to CSL TV. I just hope you guys are having a beautiful, blessed day. Now, if you're new to the channel, this is just a review, a reaction, an informational channel. Hopefully the informational part help you or someone else out. And we just gonna watch some videos and talk about them. Now, we watch all types of videos, bad cops, crime, murders, investigations, all that type of stuff, And then we also talk about what goes on in the news from various amount of people, like Notice News, Stay Tuned, all that good stuff, Crime Line. So if you've been rocking with me, I appreciate you so much, and I wish nothing but the best for everybody. Let's get it.
This story from Oklahoma is horrific. Last week, 14-year-old Ivy Webster and 16-year-old Brittany Brewer went to a sleepover here at the home of their friend, 13-year-old Tiffany Guess. When they didn't come home, their parents contacted the police and an Amber Alert was issued. When police searched the property of the place they went for a sleepover, they made a shocking discovery. Ivy, Brittany, and Tiffany had all been shot dead, as were Tiffany's two siblings, Riley and Michael, and her mother, Holly.
Hasn't hit me just yet. I still think she's standing right behind me or gonna walk down these steps.
What Ivy and Brittany's parents didn't know was that Tiffany's stepfather, 39-year-old Jesse McFadden, was a convicted felon. McFadden had spent 16 years in prison for rape and was due back in court Monday on charges of soliciting a minor and child pornography. Police say it was McFadden who pulled the trigger on every person at his house that night, shooting them each in the head before turning the gun on himself. Research has proven violent crime like this is driven by poverty, inadequate access to mental health care, and easy access to guns. Sadly, all three factors are overwhelmingly present in Oklahoma. 1 in 6 Oklahomans live in poverty, the state ranks almost dead last in mental health care spending, and 54% of adults in the state own a gun. Despite these multiple crises, any guess what the state's Republican lawmakers are targeting?
Governor Kevin Stitt today signing into law a bill that bans gender transition surgeries and hormone therapies for minors.
America, the greatest country in the world, everybody.
Welcome to CSL TV, but a bus driver saved student from possibly being struck by a car. An Ohio bus driver is being called a hero after she saved a student from being potentially struck by a car. April Wise pulled the boy back on the bus after seeing a passenger car wasn't stopping. Now, they named her a hero and all this stuff, and my thing is, was they not paying attention, or she failed to put that little stop sign out we be seeing? Because there's no way, this should even be a situation right here. Shout out to that guy, that chapter, the title of this video is "A Police Officer Tried to Set His Wife Up Like She Committed Suicide But Didn't Know She Was Alive." So we about to listen to the full details on this story. Now, you can check me out, or you can simply stop this video and go over to the chapter shit and check him out. But what I will not have is people being negative, because we watching this video together and we're going to talk about it if you want to talk about it. But it's all positivity and love, so let's get it.
Jessica's grandparents were woken up by police. They told Jessica's grandparents, who had raised her, that she was dead. She had killed herself with a bullet to the brain. Jessica Lester began dating Matthew Boynton when she was about 15, he was about 16. They were both in high school in Spalding County, Georgia. After they had been dating for about a year, Jessica announced to her grandparents she was up to duff. Prego! And, her grandparents said, hey, we'll help you raise the baby. You're kind of young. But nope. She and Matthew moved into an apartment together. Matthew dreamed of working with the law, becoming a cop. And, well, he fulfilled his dream, becoming a police officer with the Griffin Police Department. As a cop, Matthew was reportedly, one of those, a real company man type of guy, fiercely loyal. Maybe someone who took his job a bit too seriously at times. At the same time, he was very controlling of Jessica. Even at Jessica Lester's family gatherings, Jessica stayed at home, and although he was a cop, he drove a patrol car, he made sure to keep the keys of the truck so she couldn't go anywhere. She didn't have any kind of payment card, so he'd have to buy anything they needed, that sort of thing. Very controlling. Jessica didn't exactly roll over and take this willingly. In fact, maybe she took it a bit too far. Twice, Matthew Boynton had to call the cops on her as she'd yell at him. She'd be poking him in the chest, which is, domestic assault. Matthew took the law very seriously and he knew how to use it. A year after their first child, Jessica got pregnant again. This time, Matthew was not the baby daddy. She had had a brief affair. Though, Matthew said he would raise the child as his own, and they decided to get married. Jessica Lester became Jessica Boynton, and 6 months after that marriage, Jessica learned Matthew banging someone else. A dispatcher at the Spalding County Sheriff's Office named Courtney Calloway. This was the final nail in the coffin. Jessica would keep a notebook of when Matthew was out with his girlfriend, documenting everything, something she kept hidden from Matthew.
Oh, so this is where the details are starting to get juicy. Now, I don't like stopping my videos a lot because, you know what I'm saying, I don't even like commercials. And I feel like if I'm stopping it too much, y'all might as well watch people shit that got commercials and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm trying to be commercial free. We just want to watch video, get a little knowledge, get a little entertainment, and talk about it.
Matthew. In April 2016, Jessica was planning on moving out with the kids and had a job lined up. She was packed up and ready to rock. At about 9 p.m. on Thursday, the 14th of April 2016, Matthew once again called the cops to report domestic assault. Jessica was again poking at him, yelling at him, that kind of stuff. Jessica went over to the neighbor's house with the kids, and it seemed like things then calmed down for the night. Not long after, Matthew texts Jessica saying, you know, we need to go to Walmart. Good old Walmart, get some Baba formula. They do so, popping in not long after 10 p.m. But around 30 minutes later, Jessica storms out of the place. Seems they were having a go at each other once again. Jessica was reportedly refusing to leave with him, but after a while, they all do so, going back home. After they arrived back home at around 10:45, a neighbor heard gunshot.
Oh shit, so you mean to tell me she didn't have a baby with somebody else, he still accepts her, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And then they having this altercation or disagreement or whatever you want to call it in Walmart, and she decides to leave. They go home, and all of a sudden a gunshot is being heard.
Neighbor goes over to the window to have a goo. Sees Matthew waltzing out of the apartment, not a care in the world, not a bother him. He was heading off for a late night dinner with another cop at the local Waffle House. At 12:54 a.m., he received a text message from Jessica. The text read, "I can't do this anymore. Take care of the children. Please tell them I love them every day." He then called the emergency services, asking for them to pop by his home.
Are you on EMS? Mm-hmm. Can you please dispatch a unit out to my location? Give me a reference to my wife. I left the location. I'm backing around on Carver Road now. I'll be back there in about 2 minutes. She's having suicidal thoughts. My kids are at home with her, so I'm trying to hurry up and get back there. I'm driving. She just said that she's been experiencing suicidal thoughts right now. She told me to take care of the boys, so I'm trying to hurry up and get back home just to make sure that nothing's going to happen to them. Any weapons inside the house? Just my service weapon.
He then immediately raced back to his apartment before the emergency services arrived. And again, before anyone else has shown up, he reports on his police radio he heard pop pop 2 gunshots coming from his apartment.
I believe I just heard a shot fired coming in my residence. I just came up the stairs 2 rounds.
They then arrived.
I think she's in the master.
Stay out, Matt. Stay out.
My kid's back in there, man. She didn't shoot my kids.
Is this the master? The master room, man. Police department.
The older son was asleep in his room, the baby crying, and Jessica was locked in the bedroom closet, her head on a bloody pillow. On the shelf was her secret notebook documenting everything Matthew did. And under her was Matthew's service weapon.
She used his gun. She used his gun, his police gun. Hey, can I get home?
This kid had it, man. She fucking loved her. She loved me. She told me she loved me before she did it.
Yeah.
What am I kids gonna do? I could have just fucking jumped. I mean, if I could have been here 2 minutes earlier, man, I could have jumped in front of the gun and tried to get it from her, man. Where did she shoot herself at?
I couldn't tell.
Oh, man. She would have never done this. I don't know why. I mean, I was telling Guthrie, man, I was supposed to go eat with Guthrie. I got ready to leave, and I got ready to walk out the door and started walking down the steps. I didn't even get halfway. She asked me to come back, and she was crying. And she asked me, she said, well, can you call EMS? I said, okay, well, you know, what's wrong? And I asked her 2 or 3 times, and she just looked at me and just kept crying. I said, can you please tell me what's wrong? You know, I mean, are you having trouble breathing, or, you know, what is it? She said, never mind, don't worry about it. So, I mean, I left. I mean, this is, ask Guthrie, man, this is a common thing here lately. I mean, I got the Waffle House when I got the text. I circled back around, come back down Highway 16 west, headed westbound, come back down through Carver. I was on the phone with dispatcher Angie, man, to call EMS. I was hitting 90 coming down Carver trying to get in here, man. If I could, damn it, man. If I could have been here sooner, maybe I could have stopped her.
About an hour later, Jessica's grandparents were woken up by police. They told Jessica's grandparents, who had raised her, that she was dead. She had killed herself with a bullet to the brain, so they immediately rushed over. Now, Jessica wasn't dead. She was still alive and airlifted to Atlanta. She would be obviously in critical condition. There was no blood splatter on the walls of the closet, and there were 2 bullet holes on 2 different walls.
You see the holes? No, I mean, where she?
Okay, oh, right there.
Come out here.
And a total of 4 people heard a gunshot 2 hours before the police arrived. No one else heard the 2 gunshots when Matthew allegedly did. What about the text message? How did that get sent to Matthew's phone if the neighbors heard a gunshot earlier? Well, there was no lock on her phone. People would later say the way it was written was not like anything Jessica would say, or how she would just use her words. That very early morning after Jessica was rushed to hospital, Matthew was interviewed by the Georgia Bureau of Investigations. He said he was wearing the same clothes the entire night, which is disproven by the body cam footage and Walmart footage. Jessica would be placed in a medically induced coma for 3 weeks. She'd make a full recovery, but with no memory of what happened that night.
Man. She ain't got no memory of what happened, y'all. So how do we know he did it? We already heard about how the note don't sound like anything she would say. And if she had previous notes and stuff and texts, whatever, they can predict if that was hers or not because of her choice of wording and how it's expressed, etc., etc. You can usually tell if somebody's thinking while they writing, there's spaces, whatever, you know what I'm saying, they have to investigate on to understand more about this person and more about what they could have possibly been going through. So, with them saying that shows a lot.
Jessica was eventually released from hospital, having made a full recovery, and after being assessed by psychologists, they found no evidence of depression or suicidal thoughts. And 3 days later, she was served with a family violence protective order. Jessica could not come within 300 yards of Matthew or her children, and so the case was closed. 7 months after the shooting, Jessica filed a report with the Griffin Police Department that Matthew hadn't returned her belongings, and that she was missing things including a retainer. Matthew was now dating a new woman, and this new woman found a gym bag in their house full of women's items, clothing, jewelry, laptop, and a retainer with Jessica written on it. Matthew had already signed a sworn statement promising he no longer had anything of Jessica's.
This is how to get in shape fast.
Matthew would be interrogated.
So Jessica came in, she filed a report. I talked to you about it. You wrote a statement saying you didn't have any of her items. The report specifically said her retainer and stuff like that, her clothes.
Okay.
Do you know anything about where her clothes or retainer might have been?
Like I told her before, the only thing that we might have had would have been in that white trailer, and my stepdad has not mentioned anything else being in there.
Do you recognize that bag?
Yes, the bag that Jessica let me use to put all my gym stuff in when we used to be together.
Okay.
All right, Matthew. The bag was completely filled with female clothes. And this is one photo of it. That's yours.
No, not.
All right?
No, sir.
What would it have been at?
It would have been in the garage thing I could sit in.
Which is where?
Which is at my house.
Which is at your house.
Yes, sir.
And the contents in the bag?
And it's got all her stuff in it.
So why would you not have brought that to us when you saw the bag moving?
Sarge, I promise I've not been through that bag. The last time I used that
Matthew,
bag was for the
I
gym.
didn't ask you that, Matthew. Listen to me, buddy. Whose bag is this?
I understand what you're saying. It's Jessica's, and I should have brought it up here.
You know, all things, and I don't know anything about your other issue, but all the things involved in reference to this case, all the going around, the statement that you wrote.
Matthew would resign before he was fired, and would not be indicted on the charges of making false statements and violating his oath of office. And 4 months later, he got a job with another department. Jessica got her kids back. During the summer of 2018, when Matthew would arrive to pick them up, the older one would often cling to Jessica, saying he didn't want to go. He later told her that Matthew hurt him. After Jessica reported this to Child Protective Services and an investigation was done, the children were interviewed by child psychologists. They recommended that the children not be around Matthew anymore. However, what happened to Jessica that night remains a mystery.
I'm a little confused on if she really committed suicide or was it, you know what I'm saying, he did it. But the evidence showed that he possibly did it just because of that gym bag with her stuff in it. He lied about that, and that is something you would be like, why are you lying about a fucking gym bag? You know what I'm saying? With just some bullshit in there. But I guess that's how they was able to try to see or understand more about this guy and why he lied and acted the way he did. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, I mean, damn. This dude then shot the mother of his children for whatever God knows reason. So, y'all be careful.